Myth or real? Hermes Trismegistus from the warm sands of ancient Egypt, where gods walked among men and the secrets of the universe were guarded in stone temples. A shadow emerges, a figure so ancient that his story blends with time itself. Hermes Trismegistus. He is known as the Master of Masters, the Scribe of the Gods, the Thrice-Great. To him is credited the origin of a wisdom so profound it shaped the course of hidden civilization, Hermeticism, a philosophy that promises to unveil the keys to reality. But who was Hermes Trismegistus? Was he a man of flesh and blood, a wise king who lived before the pharaohs? Was he a god who descended to earth to instruct humanity? In this video, we will travel through time, from the libraries of Alexandria to the secret laboratories of medieval alchemists, in search of the truth behind the greatest enigma of ancient wisdom. We will decipher the sacred texts, investigate the historical evidence, and explore the monumental impact of his ideas, which continue to influence us to this day. Stay with us, for this journey will challenge what you know about history, philosophy, and magic. Did you know that the famous phrase, "That which is above is like that which is below," the pillar of all Western esoteric thought, is attributed to a single short text from Hermes Trismegistus, written on a mysterious Emerald Tablet? To find the origin of Hermes Trismegistus, we do not look for a man, but for the fusion of two powerful gods. Our story begins in Egypt, centuries before Christ, under the rule of the Ptolemies, the successors of Alexander the Great. In this era, Greek and Egyptian culture intertwined in a way never seen before, creating a melting pot of new ideas, arts, and religions. The Greeks brought their pantheon of Olympian gods, and one of them was Hermes. Hermes was the messenger of the gods, the god of travelers, thieves, communication, and crucially, of interpretation and hidden wisdom. In Egypt, the Greeks found a deity with surprisingly similar attributes, the ancient and revered god Thoth. Thoth was the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, magic, science, the moon, and the official scribe of the gods, the one who recorded the judgment of souls. The Greeks, seeing the similarities, did what they always did. They connected the dots. In their minds, Hermes and Thoth were two faces of the same coin. This fusion, this syncretism, gave birth to a new figure, grander than its parts, Hermes Trismegistus. The epithet Trismegistus means thrice great, a trinity of power and wisdom in a single entity, not as a character in a story, but as the source of a revelation. The authorship of dozens of texts on philosophy, magic, astrology, and alchemy was attributed to him. These texts, known collectively as the Hermetica, were presented as a dialogue between the great master Hermes. This was the initial formation of the legend, a divine master, a fusion of gods, revealing the secrets of the cosmos to a humanity thirsty for knowledge. If the legend was born from the fusion of two gods, was there any real historical figure who served as inspiration for such a powerful myth? Here, the search becomes a true labyrinth. There's no single king or general whose deeds were exaggerated. So historians look at the possibilities. One theory is that Hermes Trismegistus was not a name, but a title. An honorary title given to a lineage of great Egyptian priests of the god Thoth, who were the guardians of wisdom in the temples. Another possibility is that the inspiration came from real historical figures, but much older ones, whose lives were already legendary. A name that emerges is Imhotep, the architect of the first pyramid, a genius who was a physician, engineer, and advisor to Pharaoh Djoser. After his death, Imhotep was deified and worshipped as a god of wisdom and medicine. It is possible that the memories of great sages like Imhotep were absorbed into the larger figure of Hermes Trismegistus. The historical context is key. Alexandria, in Ptolemaic Egypt, was the intellectual center of the world. In this environment of cultural and spiritual effervescence, countless schools of thought arose. Neoplatonism, Gnosticism, Hellenistic Judaism, early Christianity. All were searching for a primordial wisdom, a single truth that lay at the root of all religions. The figure of Hermes Trismegistus, an ancient Egyptian sage validated by a Greek name, was the perfect personification of this search. He was the supreme authority, older than Plato, older than Moses. The creation of this myth was a response to the need of an era that desperately sought to unify knowledge and find a deeper meaning for existence. Over the centuries, the legend of Hermes grew, and the texts attributed to him became deeper and more mysterious. The main body of his philosophical teachings is known as the Corpus Hermeticum. In these dialogues, Hermes teaches that man is a divine being, capable of achieving gnosis, the direct knowledge of God, through contemplation and purification of the mind. He describes a universe that is, in fact, a thought in the mind of the Creator, the Emerald Tablet. Legend says that this tablet, made from a single piece of emerald, was discovered in the tomb of Hermes. Engraved upon it, in just a few lines, are the fundamental laws of the universe. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to perform the miracles of one only thing. As above, so below. Teaches that man, the microcosm, is a reflection of the universe, the macrocosm. By understanding himself, man can understand the heavens. And by understanding the heavens, he can master his own world. They did not just seek to turn lead into gold. The great work of alchemy was the transformation of the alchemist's soul, the purification of his imperfections to achieve enlightenment, the spiritual philosopher's stone. And Hermes Trismegistus was the patron and master of this sacred art. The iconic characters of his legend are not warriors or companions, but his own teachings. The 7 Hermetic principles, popularized in the modern book The Kybalion, are seen as the elements that define his philosophy: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Each principle is a key to unlocking the mystery of existence, symbolizing the depth and breadth of his wisdom. The influence of Hermes Trismegistus on Western culture is so vast that it is almost invisible, like a subterranean river that feeds many springs. During the Middle Ages, while Europe was in the Dark Ages, his texts were preserved and studied in the Islamic world, deeply influencing Arab scientists and philosophers. But the great Hermetic explosion happened during the Renaissance. In 1463, a monk brought a Greek manuscript to Florence. Cosimo de' Medici, the ruler of Florence, ordered his chief translator, Marsilio Ficino, to stop translating the works of Plato and to immediately focus on translating Hermes. This shows how important he was considered. This translation caused an intellectual revolution. Philosophers like Pico della Mirandola and Giordano Bruno saw in Hermeticism a universal philosophy that could unite all religions. Bruno paid for his ideas with his life, being burned at the stake by the Inquisition. Figures like Isaac Newton, the father of modern physics, were in secret, devout alchemists. Newton spent more time studying alchemy and Hermetic texts than physics or mathematics, seeking the divine wisdom hidden in nature. The impact of Hermes on cultural identity was to create an intellectual counterculture. Secret societies like the Rosicrucians and the Freemasons incorporated Hermetic principles into their rituals and philosophies. In the 19th century, Hermeticism was the pillar for the emergence of orders like the Golden Dawn, which had members like the poet W.B. Yeats and the magician Aleister Crowley. Today, his ideas are everywhere in New Age spirituality, in Jungian psychology with its concept of synchronicity, and even in films and books that explore magic and hidden reality. The archetype of the wisdom master, an ancestral figure who brings divine knowledge to humanity, is not exclusive to Hermes Trismegistus. He walks alongside other giants of mythology and religion. In Persia, we have Zarathustra, or Zoroaster, the prophet who brought the teachings of monotheism and the cosmic struggle between good and evil. In India, we have Manu, the progenitor of humanity and the lawgiver who received the sacred laws from the gods. These figures, like Hermes, serve as a bridge between heaven and earth. They teach us that the deepest knowledge is not invented, but rather received or rediscovered. What they teach us is reverence for the mystery. They represent the belief that the universe is not a random and meaningless place, but an ordered cosmos, governed by intelligent laws accessible to those who seek with sincerity. The figure of the Master teaches us that the most important journey is the journey inward, the search for self-knowledge, because, as the Hermetic principle states, as above, so below. And so, we return to our great question, now armed with more knowledge. Hermes Trismegistus, myth or reality? The evidence strongly suggests that there was no single historical man who corresponds to the legend. Hermes Trismegistus was born as a concept, a powerful fusion of gods that gave a face and a name to a stream of wisdom that was flourishing in Hellenistic Egypt. The texts attributed to him were written by many anonymous authors over several centuries. But in a way, this makes the legend even more powerful. The myth surpassed any historical reality that might have existed. He is proof that an idea, a philosophy, can have a life of its own, growing. The question that remains is the true story of Hermes Trismegistus about the identity of a man, or about the timeless power of a wisdom that refuses to be forgotten? What do you think? Was Hermes Trismegistus a real sage, a literary construction, or a god who visited us? If you like this journey through history and myth, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos.